Hi, Sam here from Study in Australia TV, and from all of us, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. This is the top 99 places to visit in Melbourne. Melbourne is a melting pot of culture, architecture, history, food and fashion. It's currently ranked as the 9th most livable city in the world by the Economist Intelligence Unit, but it's been consistently in the top 5 over the last few years, and number 1 quite a few times. Whether you're looking to study or visit Melbourne, or you've just moved here, we've rounded up 99 experiences that we think are totally worth your while and showcase the best that Melbourne has to offer. Federation Square. Federation Square is an artistic and creative hub of Melbourne not to be missed. It hosts over 2,000 events a year. These include cultural festivals, events, launches, exhibitions, performances, forums, films, concerts and fashion shows, and most are free. It's always buzzing with events, screenings, talks, performances and activities. Whether it's a weekend craft market, an exhibition at NGV Australia, or a panel talk, you're almost guaranteed to find something to pique your interest. Number 2, the Yarra Trail. Itching for a new adventure? We'll saddle up and explore the city on 2 wheels. We recommend the easy-ish ride along the Yarra Trail. Starting in Eltham, this trail is a pretty satisfying 22-kilometre ride towards Fairfield that follows the flow of the Yarra. It's flat most of the way, with loads of leafy corridors to pass through. Closer to the city, the trail is sealed and your necessary pit stops include the Hyde Museum of Modern Art and the colonial-era Fairfield Boathouse for some scones. Number 3 is the National Gallery of Victoria. The NGV is an incredible place to spend a day. Opened in 1861, this is Australia's oldest art gallery. NGV is full of exceptional art and excellent exhibitions. It's one of the best galleries in Australia. The NGV is made up of 2 venues, the NGV International and NGV Australia. Both are impressive spaces, filled with world-class art, so you could easily while away an entire day at each. The International's permanent collections include a Rembrandt, a Bonnard, plus a much-loved water wall at the entrance. Number 4, Melbourne's hidden bars. Fact: Melbourne does hidden bars like no other city. And yes, sorry to all the Melburnians reading this, but we're about to reveal some of our underground drinking secrets. We've got a laboratory-themed bar located down a tiny laneway, one behind a fridge door, Jungle Boy, and a bookshelf, which is Lock and Key, a secret rooftop bar above a Chinese restaurant, Goldilocks, and a closet of a bar that barely fits 10 people, Bar Americano. Sure, it might feel more like a scavenger hunt than a night out hunting these places out, but for a drink with a difference, it's definitely worth it. The MCG. It doesn't get much more Melbourne than cheering on your favourite team at the G, piping hot meat pie in one hand and cold beer in the other. But the AFL isn't the only thing that'll get your blood pumping at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. As the name implies, cricket is the go-to for during summer, and the fascinating National Sports Museum is open throughout the year. Number 6 is Sea Life. Sea Life Melbourne Aquarium, along the banks of the Yarra River, is one of the best loved destinations in Melbourne. It's a world-class aquarium, and it's not just for kids, but kids do love this place. It's easy to spend several hours here. A striking exhibit is the penguin display, including large king penguins and the Gen 2 penguins. Other highlights include displays such as river to reef, rock pool, mangrove and billabong. Some displays are interactive and creatively put together. Number 7 is Curtin House. If you do one thing in Melbourne, we recommend hitting the extremely Melbourne Curtin House on Swanston Street. This 6-storey vertical lane houses some of Melbourne's most interesting tenants. There's Metropolis Specialist Bookshop, Human Salon, the hairdresser, bar and restaurant Cookie and Mesa Verde, highfashionmavens.com, the swanky bar and band room at the Toff in town, and Melbourne's crowning glory, rooftop bar, right at the very top. Visitors can practically get the full Melbourne experience without setting foot outside this building. Number 8, Crown Casino. Crown Casino is a popular Melbourne destination and a massive complex. This is one place you're guaranteed not to get bored. Along with gaming, the complex offers first-rate restaurants and cafes, and designer shopping. This is a great place to come for fine dining with acclaimed restaurants like Rockpool Bar and Grill, The Atlantic for seafood, Rosetta for Italian, Nobu for Japanese, Korean fusion, Bistro Gilliam, and Spice Temple, to name a few. Number 9, Yarra Valley. It's amazing how quickly suburban Melbourne gives way to the lush, rolling green hills of the Yarra Valley. Allocate a day to spend here. Just a short drive from Melbourne, under an hour, the Yarra is full of amazing lush scenery, world-class wine centres, outdoor activities, and great cafes and restaurants. Even those looking for child-friendly attractions won't leave disappointed. You can keep the kids, little and big, quiet with a trip to the heavenly Yarra Valley Chocolaterie and Ice Creamery. Number 10 is St Kilda. St Kilda is an eclectic place with many attractions. Check out the Esplanade while taking in the markets on a Sunday. Stroll along the pier and grab gelato. Take in Ackland Street and the fine European cake spots. In fact, many of Melbourne's fine restaurants are in St Kilda, with many in Fitzroy and Ackland Street. Number 11, Queen Vic Market. Every great city has a great market, and the open-air Queen Vic Market does Melbourne proud. The place is rammed full of veteran stallholders who are passionate about fresh produce and more than happy to talk you through their wares. The fresh produce, meat and variety of dairy and small goods means it's a working place that's popular with the locals, but the market has become a must-visit for tourists as well. The market's open at 6 a.m. Monday to Saturday, but closing hours vary depending on the day, so make sure you check before visiting. And be sure to get a hot jam donut before you leave. Number 12, Brunswick Street. Brunswick Street is an iconic Melbourne precinct. The best thing about Brunswick Street is the people. Here you'll see people from all walks of life. Appreciate the social ambience even before you hit the shopping. It's the vintage clothes stores though that Brunswick is most celebrated for. Pre-loved clothing specialists like Hunter Gatherer, Vintage Soul and Yesteryear. Number 13 is Eureka Skydeck 88. Get a view of Melbourne from the Eureka Tower Skydeck. This place has the wow factor. On a good day, this incredible 360-degree view on the 88th floor is incredible. During the day, you can see all the way out to the Dandenong Ranges. The Skydeck has the best view of Melbourne by day and by night, and the edge is a glass box that extends 3 metres out from the 88th floor of the tower, and as you walk out, things get a bit freaky with cracking glass sound effects, designed just to scare you senseless. Number 14 is the Great Ocean Road. Within striking distance of Melbourne, the Great Ocean Road is another fantastic day trip. You can wind your way through some legendary towns and stop at some great beaches such as Bells Beach, which is famous for pro surfing, and Torquay. There's many opportunities to stop at beaches, and koala sightings are not uncommon. Travel off-season to avoid crowds. The road is just as great in the cooler months. Number 15, Bourke Street Mall and Melbourne Central. Bourke Street Mall and Melbourne Central are two of the major shopping hubs in Melbourne. Enjoy Bourke Street Mall, a bustling and attractive precinct with loads of designer brands here, including Myer and David Jones, and overseas retailers like Zara. Bourke Street Mall has one of the best vibes in Melbourne, and at lunchtime it's usually packed with people. Number 16, Melbourne Zoo. Melbourne Zoo is a world-class zoo and an exciting place to visit with the whole family. It's also Australia's oldest zoo. It's easy to spend several hours here wandering around the various precincts. Upon arrival, grab a map of the zoo and then plan your visit. There is regular feeding times and other attractions, and you can appreciate 320 species at the Melbourne Zoo and enjoy an entire day of fascination and excitement. Number 17, Laver Arena. One of the best complexes in Australia, popular for sporting events like the Australian Open, as well as for concerts and large events. Arrange to attend an event here or go on a tour. Check out the tournament control room, players' change room, inside the arena, the Super Box, the Davis Cup room, and the Media Theatre. Number 18, Phillip Island. A real favourite is Phillip Island, known for its amazing penguin parade visitor centre and racing with the MotoGP every year. There is plenty to offer on the island. There are some great tourist destinations like Nobby's, which showcases some amazing coastline. You can also check out the world-class penguin parade, and in Cowes you'll find great dining and shopping.
Holding close, holding tight, let the moon slowly take over on night. The sky's never been clearer than now, but you'll always be beautiful. Holding close, holding tight, let the moon slowly take over on night. The sky has never been clearer than now.
Number 19 is Docklands. Attractions include the Melbourne Star, urban art sculptures, cool bridges and restaurants, cafes and shopping. A great place to shop and dine, including factory outlets and the district precinct. Popular restaurants include Berth, Pop Pop, Kobe Jones and The Hoff. Check out the Marvel Stadium with the roof that closes. Harbour Town Shopping Centre is popular for discounted shopping as well as specialty shopping. It also has a place to drop off the kids to have fun while you do your shopping. Number 20, Old Melbourne Gaol. Step into the history of crime and justice, with some of Australia's most notorious criminals having spent time here since the 1840s. The Old Melbourne Gaol is on the edge of the city near the State Library. Home to Melbourne's oldest prison, historic magistrates' court and former police city watch house. Russell Street has been the heart of crime, law and order in Melbourne since the 1840s. Most of Australia's infamous characters, including the iconic bushranger Ned Kelly and notorious gangster Squizzy Taylor, have spent time within its walls. Today, the award-winning tourism attraction is an opportunity to step back in time and walk the road to the gallows in a 19th century prison, or be arrested in a modern-day police station and put yourself on trial in court. Number 21, State Library. The State Library of Victoria is a cultural landmark that houses an incredible amount of books, as well as several exhibitions and galleries with a lot of history. The library was established in 1956 and is a grand presence on Swanston Street with interior spaces to match. The La Trobe Reading Room is a 6-storey high domed room that is magnificent to look at. Beautiful artwork depicting Victoria's history are exhibited in the Cowan Gallery for visitors to peruse. North and South Rotundas and the Keith Murdoch Gallery also holds exhibitions and artworks. The library offers everything needed for a productive workday: free Wi-Fi, printing services and plenty of seating options. Our pick is the La Trobe Reading Room. Number 22, Collins Street and Block Arcade. Perhaps the most famous Melbourne shopping street is Collins Street, home to high-end jewellery including George Jensen, Maker's Mark, Bulgari, Rutherford and Tiffany & Co. High-end fashion, Husk, Herringbone, Hugo Boss and the legendary appointment-only boutique Le Louvre. Shoes and luxury goods such as Ralph Lauren, Hermes, Chanel, Gucci, Bali, Salvatore Ferragamo and Louis Vuitton. There's also shopping complexes such as Collins Place, George's on Collins, Collins 24 and Australia on Collins, which features fashion, homewares and gift stores. Number 23 is the Regent Theatre. The landmark Regent Theatre holds a key part in our city's history since opening as a Grand Picture Palace in 1929. Having survived a fire, a flood, 20 years in darkness and many threats of demolition to turn the magnificent theatre into a car park, the venue reopened in August 1996, meticulously refurbished and returned to its breathtaking former glory. Today it stands more lavish and grand than ever and continues to host some of the world's most renowned theatre productions, including Disney's The Lion King, We Will Rock You, Sunset Boulevard, Wicked, Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, and Andrew Lloyd Webber's Love Never Dies. Number 24 is Scienceworks, a favourite place for children in Melbourne. Learning about science and technology, Scienceworks is only 5 k's from Melbourne in Spotswood. Hands-on participation is the order of the day. Live demonstrations, shows, guides, tours, and special activities. It's fun, it's educational, it's clever, it's interactive. Scienceworks itself is great, but there's always added exhibitions next door. Plus, the planetarium is a big hit. There's also shows and events in the round outdoor theatre. Number 25 is Werribee Zoo. Another great favourite of children in Melbourne. This zoo is African themed and is located about 32 k's out of Melbourne in Werribee. You can literally go on a safari bus tour in the open range zoo. The tour takes about 45 minutes, and the safari tour includes hippos, animals of the grassland such as zebras and waterbuck, giraffe, ostrich, and rhinoceroses, as well as the camel and the oryx. There's lions, meerkats, and much more. Number 26 is Dandenong Ranges, one of the great spots in Melbourne and only 45 minutes out of the CBD. Take a picnic or stop at a great cafe. Enjoy the hills environment of ferns and huge mountain ash trees. There's lots of spectacular scenery as you wind through the ranges and check out the views below. Go to the iconic towns like Sassafras, Olinda, and Kilda. Check out great cafes like Ripe or Miss Marple in Sassafras. Take a stroll through the main street. Enjoy craft stores, artist studios, and plant nurseries. Number 27, Marvel Stadium. Sport lovers heaven. Marvel Stadium is a multi-purpose complex only minutes from the CBD. It's one of the only complexes in the Southern Hemisphere with a retractable roof. You can arrange to go on a tour or even hold a conference here. And of course, attending an AFL fixture is a great Aussie thing to do. The stadium is one of the major venues for AFL football and regularly sees large crowds of around 50,000 football lovers. Number 28 is St. Pauls Cathedral. St. Paul's is an iconic structure in the heart of the city. You'll often find people here for quiet reflection and prayer during the day. At times you can hear the bells ringing, and inside the cathedral is some interesting history, and from the steps is one of the best views in Melbourne. Number 29 is the Australian Formula One Grand Prix. For racing enthusiasts, this is the place to be in March in Melbourne. Watch the cars race around the Albert Park circuit, and just around the corner you'll be in the city ready to hit the after parties. Number 30 is the Mornington Peninsula. This is a great day trip to visit the Mornington Peninsula and check out the beaches and enjoy the top-class wineries. Drive all the way to Sorrento and walk the main streets with awesome cafes and shops. Stop by on the beach at Sorrento, head to Red Hill on the way back, or drive down to the Peninsula Hot Springs and soak away your cares in the soothing thermal pools. Spend some time in the cave pools, get a massage, and chill out on the day beds. You've earned it. Number 31, Parliament House. For those interested in architecture and politics, you can go on a public tour of Parliament House. You may even get to sit in the Speaker's chair. Check out the upper and lower houses. Parliament House, Melbourne is one of Australia's oldest and most architecturally distinguished public buildings. The building commenced in 1856 at the height of the gold rush, and this is reflected in the lavish use of gold in the interior decoration. Number 32, Melbourne Town Hall. One of the most iconic structures in Melbourne is Melbourne Town Hall. Enjoy a free tour of this grand 19th century building. Check out the organ with 10,000 pipes. The nearby city square is a great place to relax with coffee. Number 33, Royal Botanical Gardens. The Royal Botanical Gardens is the place to escape the madness of the CBD without actually leaving it. It's on the edge of the city, and there's more than 8,500 plant species calling this place home. There are lush lawns and glittering lakes that are perfect for revitalising the mind and the soul with a quick stroll, or for lingering longer with a weekend picnic. Number 34, Melbourne Museum. A glorious, sprawling space filled with themed displays, interactive areas, IMAX cinemas, postmodern art, and no end of surprises. Melbourne Museum rewards first-time visitors and repeat patrons equally. For recent initiates, the sheer scope of the permanent galleries, including one just for children, can be intimidating, but for those who aren't intent on digesting all of it in one visit, the greatest treasures, including Phar Lap's preserved body and a fascinating exploration of the history of mental health treatment in Australia can be taken in over several visits. Flinders Street. This was the first station in Australia and in no time became the most crowded railway station on the planet. The main entrance on Flinders Street Station is a picturesque cultural symbol of Melbourne. You'll find it on many postcards and tourist brochures. This gorgeous building was opened in 1910 and it's listed on the Victorian Heritage Register. The railway station attracts a large crowd and makes it an important tourist place to visit in Melbourne. Inside, you'll find Australia's busiest railway station with a small shopping area and tasty food options, and easy walking access to South Bank. Number 36 is Abbotsford Convent. You can feel the weight of the past as soon as you step into the grounds and look up to the Gothic spires of the Abbotsford Convent. The complex began as a convent in the late 1800s and was also a commercial laundry, orphanage and aged care facility. These days, it's a hub for artists, makers, community, radio broadcasters and teachers, as well as a beautiful place to explore. Number 37 is the Royal Exhibition Building. The Royal Exhibition Building in Carlton Gardens is one of the world's oldest remaining exhibition pavilions and was the first building in Australia to be named on the UNESCO Heritage List. Aside from having a fascinating history, the REB is drop-dead gorgeous inside and out. Tours are held most days at 2 p.m, or you can snap the facade anytime. Try getting a peek in front of the fountain or from in between many tree-lined pathways. Number 38 is Retail Therapy at Chadstone. Shop till you drop anytime at Chadstone Shopping Centre. It's Australia's largest shopping centre, so if you happen to be in Melbourne, it's worth a visit. Featuring over 550 stores, luxury brands and designer boutiques, you'll be in retail heaven. Number 39 is Chinatown. Melbourne's Chinatown district was first established back in the 1850s during the Victorian Gold Rush era, making it the longest continuous Chinese settlement in the Western world. And as such, it's also the oldest Chinatown in the Southern Hemisphere. This vibrant quarter of town is lined with karaoke bars, duty-free stores, and so many fantastic little restaurants. It's hard to know which one to choose. Located on Little Bourke Street and its surrounding lanes and streets, we recommend dumplings at Shanghai Village, mains at Supper Inn, and the dessert at Secret Kitchen. Number 40 is Port Melbourne. Board the tram from the city to Port Melbourne. Relax with a cuppa at one of the cafes. Take a stroll along the beach and enjoy the sea breeze. The station pier at Port Melbourne is the sea passenger terminal for cruise ships and navy ships. Number 41 is hot air ballooning. Hot air balloons aren't just for the countryside, they fly over Melbourne's pretty city too. Why go? Well, if you can handle dragging yourself out of bed well before dawn, then the flight really is worth it. Unsurprisingly, there's not a lot of people around at sunrise, and drifting over the city in the dawn light feels surreal. But where you start, travel and land in your balloon is always a mystery, as the flights are determined by each day's conditions, which means you might see some of your favourite Melbourne locations from above, or you might discover some new gems. Number 42 is Chapel Street. Chapel Street is made up of boutiques, shops, restaurants and entertainment centres. There are a number of sites of interest, including the Prahran Town Hall, the Jam Factory, the Prahran Market, and nearby is the Melbourne Bowling Club, the first bowling club in Australia. Or if you're up for a good night out, this is the place to be. Number 43 is Lygon Street. There are so many things to love about Carlton's famous strip, which has long been Melbourne's Little Italy. Gone are the irritating restaurant touters. These days it's all about top-notch bars and eateries, like Heart Attack and Vine, Milk the Cow, Pizza at Dock, Ti Amo, and tasty charcuterie and cheese for later at French deli La Parisienne Pâté. Culture lovers flock to Cinema Nova, the huge readings bookstore and independent theatre La Mama. Number 44 is Luna Park in St Kilda. Head to Luna Park for some good old-fashioned carnival fun. Luna Park opened in 1912 and has been operating continuously ever since. The park features the world's oldest operating roller coaster, the Scenic Railway. This roller coaster is one of only 3 in the world that require a brakeman to stand in the middle of the train. That's pretty cool. Number 45 is the Shrine of Remembrance. Located on St Kilda Road, the Shrine of Remembrance was established as a memorial site for the men and the women of Victoria who served and died in the Great War from 1914 to 1918. Today, it's a memorial to Australians who have served in all wars. The sanctuary's roof allows a ray of light to shine on the word love, which is inscribed on the Stone of Remembrance, and at exactly 11 a.m. on Remembrance Day, 11th of November. Number 46 is Yarra River Cruises. Experience Melbourne from the water, go on a sightseeing cruise on a ferry and enjoy spectacular views of the city as the ferry cruises by Williamstown and the Docklands. Tour companies offer cruises of different areas, including the Port and Docklands, River Gardens, Melbourne Heights, and twilight tours during the summer. There's also small boats you can hire for an hour or two to chill and have a picnic with your friends. Number 47, Arts Centre Melbourne. Easily recognisable by its spire, Arts Centre Melbourne is the city's leading arts and culture venue. It sits on the banks of the Yarra River near South Bank and is a wonderful place to attend a performance of theatre, dance, music, comedy and more. Arts Centre Melbourne incorporates a range of state-of-the-art theatres and spaces. These include the State Theatre, home to the Australian Ballet, and Opera Australia, the 884-seat Playhouse, the more intimate Fairfax Studio, and Hamer Hall, the premier performance space for the revered Melbourne Symphony Orchestra. A short stroll away, you can attend an outdoor concert at the Sydney Myer Music Bowl in the King's Domain Gardens. Number 48 is the Immigration Museum. The Immigration Museum on Flinders Street has a collection of resources and information relating to the history of immigration in Australia. It has educational programs and excursions for school students on immigration and diversity in Australia. Number 49, City Circle Tram Tour. Want to do some sightseeing the Melbourne way? Hop aboard the City Circle Tram. Melbourne is famous for its trams, and the Circle City Tram is a free and easy way of seeing the top sites in the CBD and the Docklands. Accompanied by a commentary, the hop-on hop-off Heritage Tram passes many of the grand historic buildings including Parliament House, the Old Treasury Building, Princess Theatre and the Windsor Hotel. Plus you can hop on and hop off at major attractions like Federation Square. The tram runs every 12 minutes and takes about 50 minutes to complete the entire loop. Number 50, Fitzroy Gardens and Captain Cook's Cottage. Captain Cook's Cottage was brought to Melbourne from Captain James Cook's native home in Yorkshire, England, and erected in Fitzroy Gardens. The quaint cottage is an insight into the life and time of Cook's seafaring adventures and exploration of Australia and other parts of the world. Also in the beautiful Fitzroy Gardens is the magnificent Spanish mission-style conservatory, which is always filled with a vibrant floral display. Children will love the tiny Tudor village and fairy tree. After strolling around the gardens, head to hipster-packed Fitzroy for some of Melbourne's best vegan food, as well as vintage shopping and vibrant street art. Number 51 is Hosier Lane. When people think of Melbourne, many think of the laneways. These winding burrows channel the life of the city. Thin alleys filled with cafes, street art, bars and buskers. They're brimming with charm and an essential visit for any tourist. Melbourne's most popular laneway, and the most commercial, is Hosier Lane, just down from Flinders Street. This laneway is bursting with street art from local artists and cute cafes and eateries while you roam around. Number 52, Penguin Watching on St Kilda Pier. If you don't have time to make a trip to Phillip Island, you can see Victoria's famous ferry penguins right near Melbourne on the St Kilda Pier. Arrive at the pier just before sunset and wait for the tiny penguins to emerge from the water from their nightly sleep just after the sun goes down. It's a bit of a gamble. Some nights you'll see dozens and some only 2, but make sure to bundle up, it's very cold. Number 53, See Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. The 8th chapter of J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series. This thrilling 2-part play has reignited some intense Potter feels for all who have managed to snag tickets. Why go? Melbourne is only the 3rd city in the world to get the show, after London and New York. And producers are pretty adamant it's not going to tour anywhere else in the Asia Pacific. Number 54, visit Brighton bathing boxes. Brighton Beach, just south of St Kilda, is well known for having a few dozen colourful bathing boxes lining its beach. These boxes are perfect for photos, completely Insta-worthy, and perfectly complementary to a day on the beach. There's also almost always an ice cream truck parked right there. The Mornington Peninsula beaches are also known for having these bathing boxes if you have time for a trip down south. Number 55, learn stories of Melbourne's first people at the Bunjalaka Aboriginal Cultural Centre. A venue within Melbourne's Museum, Bunjalaka was developed to empower Aboriginal people to interpret their own cultural heritage for both Indigenous and non-Indigenous people. So why go? Here you can celebrate the vibrant cultures of Indigenous Australia with exhibitions about traditional performances, storytelling rituals and artworks. It's a museum must-see. Number 56, dumplings at Hutong's. From the beginning, Hutong was the Melbourne's byword for Xiaolong Bao, and while the competition for great dumpling joints is running hot, this place is still dear to our collective hearts. Everything is top-notch, but it's the place to go for those soupy Xiaolong Bao. We'd also suggest the wontons with hot chili sauce, and the dry chili chicken. Oh, and the pork spare ribs and the snow pea shoots with garlic, if they've got them. Basically everything. And it's BYO. Number 57, try the best croissants in the world at Lune Croissanterie. Lune Croissanterie's croissants earned the venue the top spot on Time Out's Melbourne's best patisserie list, and they were dubbed the world's best by a writer for the New York Times. Not a bad gig for brother-sister team Kate and Cameron Reid. Number 58, see a classic film at the Astor Theatre. The Astor is an Art Deco cinema that's been in operation as a cinema since 1936. It's actually the last single-screen cinema of its kind in continuous operation in Melbourne. Beautiful gold curtains frame the screen, and the entire experience feels like you've flashed back to old Hollywood. The theatre boasts a program of new and classic films in 35mm, 70mm and digital formats, and it's a cultural hub for movie fans with double features, remastered classics, news and independent movies, film festivals and special events. Number 59, check out Australia's first ice cave. In 2018, Peninsula Hot Springs underwent a $13 million expansion, which included 9 new pools, a food garden, and a new ice cave, and a deep freeze chamber. The ice cave is the first of its kind in Australia, and the hot and cold therapy is a well-regarded method to reduce inflammation, stress, and soreness in the body. Think footy players jumping into the sea or having crazy cold ice baths. Number 60, tackle the 1,000 steps in the Dandenong Ranges. Ready for a day trip and a hike into the mountains? Head just under an hour out to the Dandenong Mountain Ranges and check out Melburnians' favourite hike, the Kokoda Track. The 1,000 Steps hike will take you into a jungle-like landscape out into the nature and lead you on a fantastic view, minus a few hundred calories. Number 61, see an opera at the State Theatre. When a grand opera hits town, it's more than likely it's going to the majestic underground State Theatre. The stage is so big it's the equivalent of 8 suburban houses. Wow. Look, we get it, opera isn't for everyone, but we insist you give it a shot. There's often stunning costumes, elaborate set design, and so much drama at the opera. Number 62, take a scenic helicopter ride over the city or to the Yarra Valley. If you want a true adventure and one of the top things to do in Melbourne that's more uncommon, try doing a Melbourne helicopter ride. Tackle your fear of heights. There are a few companies that do helicopter tours flying over the city, some that fly to the Great Ocean Road, and some that do Yarra Valley wine tours by helicopter. Cool, right? The most well-known takeoff spot is on South Bank, right in front of Crown Casino. Number 63, go skydiving. Did you know that Melbourne is one of the only places in the world where you can skydive so close to an actual city? Skydive St Kilda has a drop zone right by the beach with an amazing view of the city, making it one of the most epic skydive views ever. You can also skydive the Great Ocean Road or the Yarra Valley. Number 64, the Australian Open. Every year, thousands head to the Melbourne Park to watch the superstars of tennis battle it out in the fierce summer heat for the Southern Hemisphere's only Grand Slam tournament. Even if you don't make it to the arena, Burrarung Mar is abuzz with live entertainment and food stalls for the Australian Open Festival, where live screenings of matches are played on the big screens. Number 65 is Alter Australia. One event that you cannot afford to miss attending in Melbourne, if you're a music lover, is Alter Australia. This is one of the most happening music festivals in Australia, where you'll get to listen to some of the world's best musicians, including DJ Snake and Afrojack. The event takes place every year in Melbourne, as well as Sydney during February or March. Whether you're a Melbourne resident or a tourist, this event is unmissable. Number 66, hit a pub for a Palmer. The pub staple features a crispy chicken sniddy coated in a layer of Napoli sauce, slices of smoky ham topped with a horde of melted cheese and grilled to perfection. Its vegetarian counterpart often substitutes the chicken with meaty eggplant or a mock meat, and it's usually served with a side of chips or a salad for the health conscious. The fried bird was actually voted Melbourne's favourite dish by Time Out's readers in a survey conducted in 2020. Before we get into that, it's important to note the correct spelling and pronunciation. It's Palmer with an A, not Palmy with an I. Here's looking at you, Geelong, and the rest of the country. '67, Chinese New Year celebration. Every February, Melbourne celebrates the beginning of the Chinese New Year. The celebration includes traditional food, live music, street performances, martial arts, firecrackers, and a traditional lion dance in the picture-perfect location in the middle of Chinatown in the CBD. This is a great time of the year to get together with family and friends and exchange blessings for a prosperous year ahead. As Melbourne's Asian community celebrate, everyone is invited to join in the festivities all around the city. Number 68, go for a dip at the Adelphi rooftop pool. Adelphi Hotel's rooftop pool, which has swiftly become one of the most photographed pools in Melbourne. While a glass-bottomed section of the pool actually hangs out over Flinders Lane, which means you can see all of the tiny ant people scurrying along while you're submerged in water. After an upgrade in late 2017, the rooftop pool deck is looking as fresh as ever. You don't have to be a guest of the hotel though, you do have to pay. Grab a spritz and your beach towel and you'll be golden. Number 69, the Melbourne Cup. If you find yourself in Melbourne at the right time of the year, specifically end of October, beginning of November, the Melbourne Cup races are the place to be. The Melbourne Cup is known as the race that stops the nation and is held right in Melbourne. Visiting this famous horse race is one of the top 100 things to do in Melbourne, and it's a true Melbourne experience. Dress up, drink champagne, and bet on the races. Number 70, try some locally made whiskey at Starward Distillery. A whiskey distillery located in Port Melbourne that's churning out smooth, easy drinking flavours that any dram drinker would enjoy. The distillery itself is an airy and open warehouse space with an easy walking distance of the city. The bar at the front is open to the public, so you can try a whiskey and tonic and you can thank us later. It's a great space to catch up with friends, and it's whiskey focused as you'd expect, with Starward as well as other Australian spirits available and also a few craft beers. Number 71, the South Melbourne Market. The South Melbourne Market is open 3 days a week and is a haven for everything food, clothing, trinkets and plants. You name it, everything's there. This is a great place to visit to stock up on artisanal foods or just to stop for a fresh lunch. Think fresh meat and seafood. There you can find the famous truffle cheese toasties, bratwurst, and the freshest hot jam donuts around. They come in lots of 2, 6 or 12, so be careful. Number 72, have a boogie at the Toffin Town. The Toffin Town is one of the swankiest bars in town. Climb the stairs at the vertical laneway Curtin House and you'll find a private booth bar to the left and an excellent band space to the right. This cosy little red curtain room has hosted a wealth of talent, both home and from afar. It's a fun haunt and one that reeks of character in an already vibrant Melbourne scene. Get right up and sweaty at the front of the stage, or sit back and sample the menu of delicious eats and the extensive range of drinks on offer. When you're done, head up to the rooftop for a drink and some spectacular views. Number 73, shop at Emporium Melbourne. The mall in Melbourne CBD is perhaps one of the largest malls of all, and the flashiest. The Emporium Mall actually stretches for 4 to 5 blocks, bridging over and under the streets, and although the interior is very high class, it ranges from designer shops to cheap food stalls. Enter through the mire on Bourke Street, head upstairs, and you can see how far you can get. Number 74, see Melbourne's Pink Lake. Westgate Park, located on the edge of the city in Port Melbourne, turns a delicious shade of pink every summer. It's literally pink. And before you ask, yes, it's completely natural. It's been turning pink every year since the summer of 2012-2013, when a collection of hot temperatures, algae combinations, lack of rainfall, and excessive sunlight came together like a perfect pink witch's brew. It's time for a boomerang. Number 75, high tea. For a traditional high tea in Melbourne, you can't go wrong at the Windsor. French sparkling wine is offered on arrival with pastries, sandwiches, and seasonal pastisseries. It's one of the most indulgent but fun things to do in Melbourne. Along with the gorgeous traditional interior, it's the perfect thing for a Sunday afternoon. Number 76, visit Stomping Ground for locally made beer. If you're a lover of beer, Stomping Ground Brewery and Beer Hall is the perfect idea when wondering what to do in Melbourne. The local brewery offers up some world-class pale ales, lagers and IPAs, while at the Beer Hall you can also indulge in delicious pub grub. Number 77, captain your own boat down the Yarra. A boat hire service out of Docklands that lets you take a 5-metre long boat out on the Yarra River. And guess what? You don't need a boating licence to operate it. So it's fun for all. Just be sure to limit your seltzers. Go Boat is BYO. Boats come equipped with built-in picnic tables in the middle, meaning you can have lunch and drinks on the river. Awesome. For a city with such temperamental weather, we sure do love a rooftop bar. Our city is basically covered by them, but the most popular is a rooftop bar. Once you ascend the seemingly endless flight of stairs up in Curtin House, passing Cookie and the Toffin Town along the way, catch your breath and quench your thirst while taking in the heart and soul of Melbourne from above. Kick back on the fake grass or huddle under the heating and lose yourself in the spectacular views. There's also outdoor cinema events seasonally at this venue. Number 79, the IMAX Theatre. Sometimes all you really want to do is see a great movie, and there's no better way to do that than to see one at the IMAX. IMAX Melbourne also has the world's largest screen, spanning 32 metres by 23 metres, a revolutionary projecting system, and 15,000 watts of digital surround. Imagine Avatar on a 32-metre screen. Mind-blowing. Number 80, VR Gaming Arena, zero latency. For a fun thing to do in Melbourne, experience virtual reality in a group setting with zero latency, a free-roam virtual reality experience. Get your adrenaline pumping here, where you can play alongside your mates in games such as Zombie Survival, Killer Robots, and more. Number 81, go on a drinking history tour. One of the best things to do in Melbourne is a drinking history tour. You will hit classic Melbourne landscapes like Federation Square, the Forum, the MCG, ACDC Lane, the Old Treasury Building, Chinatown, and much more, but also stop at 3 bars en route. Melbourne has a rich bar history, and with more bars per capita than any city in the world, you're sure to have a rollicking good time while learning a bit about Melbourne's history. Number 82, golfing at the Albert Park Golf Range. Hit a few balls at the Albert Park driving range for a fun thing to do in Melbourne this weekend. Whether you're a seasoned golfer or a complete novice, Albert Park will satisfy all of your golfing needs, from golf lessons to working on your swing. Number 83, take a kayak down the Yarra. Go on a kayak ride right through the centre of the city thanks to Kayak Melbourne. It's one of the coolest ways to see Melbourne's skyline, and nothing beats seeing the sunset over all those buildings. The Moonlight Kayak Tour runs for 2.5 hours, and it's suitable for all ages, and there's no experience necessary, so you don't need to be an athlete. You can take it at your own pace and enjoy. Number 84, see the Aurora Australis. Australia's own version of the Northern Lights, the Southern Lights, or the Aurora Australis. The Southern Lights can be viewed, if you're lucky, from a few places if you go south far enough. Head out to Point Lonsdale, Flinders, Ailey's Inlet, Anglesea, Cape Schanck, or anywhere south with an uninterrupted horizon, and you might just get lucky. The aurora australis, like its northern sister, is very difficult to predict. Patience is key here. Bring your camera because human eyes often can't see the faint colour changes that happen during an aurora show, but DSLRs can. And be prepared to wait. Number 85, taste Michelin star food for less than $10. Singaporean street food outlet Hawker Chan landed in Lonsdale Street at the end of 2017 and has been a very popular place ever since. Street food and Michelin stars might not seem the likeliest of bedfellows, but Hawker Chan sure makes it work. It's not uncommon to see people queuing up outside the venue before it opens, eagerly awaiting their serve of soya chicken, rice and beans. Sounds simple, but sometimes simple dishes are the hardest to perfect. The Michelin star rating comes from how Hawker Chan prepares the chicken. After making the soya marinade from scratch, chefs soak the whole chicken overnight, and it only costs $8.30. Yep, you heard correctly. Number 86, New Year's Eve fireworks. New Year's Eve fireworks in Melbourne. It's pretty self-explanatory. Sure, we don't have the harbour like in Sydney, but Melbourne still puts on quite the show every New Year's Eve. There's usually a fireworks display at 9:30 p.m. for children, as well as a big display at midnight. Secure a spot at one of the great free places across the city that offer top-notch views of the fireworks. Number 87, a night at the zoo. If you're looking for something a little different to do in Melbourne, try cuddling up to your furry friends and spending a night at the zoo. Melbourne Zoo's Roar and Snore is a zoo sleepover where you can spend the night camping in the historic elephant exhibition, and you can explore the zoo after dark. Number 88, Gelati at Pitta Pippo, a cute Carlton shopfront serving some of the best gelati in Melbourne. Pitta Pippo's Lisa Valmorbida graduated from a gelato university in Italy. Naturally, her signature flavours include fior di latte, ricotta and fig, rosemary and chestnut, and a rare rhubarb and vinacotta swirl. She also adds a rotating selection of adventurous seasonal flavours. Some of her ingredients, including cheese from St Kilda's La Fromagerie, may not fit with your idea of gelato, but somehow she always seems to make it work. Whichever scoop you choose, you can't really go wrong. Number 89, Escape Rooms Melbourne. We are truly living in the golden age of the escape room. It's hard to remember a time where there weren't super fun puzzle rooms throughout Melbourne, but the first one only opened in 2014. Now there are virtual escape rooms and online escape rooms, as well as the brick and mortar kind. Each escape room revolves around a different theme, and they cater to all manners of phobias. See if you can get out in time at Rush Escape Rooms in South Yarra, or the Mystery Rooms in Fitzroy, for example. Number 90, Snack on Ramen at Midnight. Shijinko is a late-night ramen bar located on Russell Street in the city. Shijinko is smack bang in the CBD and a stone throw away from some of the city's most popular late-night venues. Nighttime city dwellers will no longer have to resort to a greasy kebab or a mysteriously long-lasting burger from the Golden Arches. The ultra-spicy kakuchi ramen is just the one thing to clear the sinuses, while the black ramen is an umami bomb that can cut through your booze-numbed taste buds. Number 91, visit Cat Cafe Melbourne. Did someone say coffee and pets? Come play, pat and relax with the friendly furry rescue cats at Cat Cafe Melbourne. It's the perfect and easy way to spend an afternoon in Melbourne for all cat lovers. The cafe is home to a whole range of cats and they have free rein to roam between the 2 floors of the cafe. Number 92, dine at Attica. It ain't cheap, but boy is it worth it. Dining at Attica in Ripponlea means dining at one of Australia's finest establishments, and an experience that you won't forget. A regular in the world's top 50 best list, Attica offers emotional, boundary-pushing Australian cuisine at its very best. Ben Sherry's multi-course tasting menu draws on local myths and personal experience to reimagine native ingredients. Number 93, the Nicholas Building. The Nicholas Building on Swanston Street is something you won't want to miss if you're visiting Melbourne. The Art Deco building hosts an eclectic range of galleries, jewellers, boutiques, stores and businesses, and it's perfect for shopping. Number 94, nighttime book read at Readings. It's not often that you see crowds hanging out at a bookshop at 10 p.m. on a Saturday night, but that's Readings for you. proof that there's still a place for great independent bookshops. The original Curtin Outpost took out the top prize at the 2016 London Book Fair's International Excellence Award, and for good reason. Aside from its unparalleled range, helpful staff and great atmosphere, the shop has a strong history of community outreach and support for local authors with their literary prizes. 95. The Sydney Myer Music Bowl. Located in the King's Domain Gardens, just a short walk from Flinders Street, the Sydney Myer Music Bowl is one of Melbourne's best outdoor music venues. It's been around since 1959 and it holds around 30,000 people. It's registered on the Victorian Heritage Register and hosts some of Melbourne's best live music performances, including the annual Carols by Candlelight. Every summer, the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra put on a series of free classical concerts for the public. They're first in, best dressed, so pack a picnic rug and enjoy a balmy summer night under the stars. Number 96. See a live show at the Forum. The recently renovated Forum venue is a great place to catch a show in Melbourne. It plays host to a slew of bands, singers, comedians, popular events and festivals all year round, so you're sure to find something that takes your fancy. Number 97. Try vegan Italian food at Smith & Daughters. Try some 100% vegan Italian at Fitzroy's local favourite, Smith & Daughters. Smith & Daughters is big on flavour and big on good times. It also happens to be fully plant-based, but you wouldn't even know it. Dishes include the likes of faux beef carpaccio, a meat-free oxtail ragu, and a soy protein schnitzel, and more. Number 98. Flinders Lane for dinner. Some of the city's best dining is clumped together into this one delicious stretch of road. Luckily, Flinders Lane is located in the city. Unfortunately, this means there's almost always a queue at some of the best restaurants. There's ceviche and sours, Andrew McConnell's culinary wizardry, Pan-Asian fusion with a side of hip-hop, understated Japanese, tacos and tequila, or modern Mediterranean. Kasumi is the sort of place where slivers of jewel-coloured ocean flesh are laid out with all of the ceremony of tea in Kyoto, some complete with judiciously placed ornaments of edible gold leaf. Number 99. The International Comedy Festival. Once a year, Melbourne is overflowing with comedy shows, both by international stars and local up-and-comers. The Melbourne International Comedy Festival is the largest standalone comedy festival in the world, with around 6,700 performances by 3,500 performers. And that's it for our top 99 places to visit in Melbourne. It's easy to see why Melbourne is in the top 10 most livable cities. And that list will keep you busy for quite some time, I imagine. We'll be compiling a list of the top 99 places to visit in each Australian city, so stay tuned for our next episode. Until then, bye for now.